My name is Lynn Wattier. About 5 years ago, a miracle happened to me. I've wanted to share my story for some time now, and the time is now. Growing up, I didn't live in a home full of love and support. I grew up in an abusive household. There was domestic abuse. In February of 2005, I took my mother to a place called Bright Horizons. It's a safe house. It's where women who are battered can go, and they help them. After she was there for about 30 days, she had filed for divorce from my father. I kept getting requests from people that worked at Bright Horizons to come and share my story, and I didn't want to. I was ashamed, I was embarrassed. I didn't want anybody to know how my life was growing up. That all changed in the year of 2015. On November 15th, 2014, I was involved in a vehicle accident. I was in my brother's pickup and we were hit from behind from a semi with a trailer. I ended up being taken by ambulance to the Osmond General Hospital, and while I was there, I received a CT scan. The CT scan showed that I had nodules in my lungs and I had a mass on my ascending colon. Colon cancer runs in my family. My sister had it when she was 38 years old. I had just turned 40, and this is not how I wanted to end my year. Dr. Laut told me that he would call UNMC and get a colonoscopy set up for me. I ended up visiting with Dr. Langenfeld at my consult, and he went over my scans and told me what I would expect the day of the appointment. So the day comes when I'm supposed to get my colonoscopy, and everything was going according to plan, except I woke up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon that day with my husband telling me, "Lynn, you need to wake up. We need to go get an MRI." And I was thinking, what do we need an MRI for? I thought I was just here for a colonoscopy. And he said, I don't know. I don't know why you're getting an MRI. They just told me that we needed to go to another floor and get the MRI. The MRI was scheduled for 4 o'clock and it was 3 o'clock. I had to hurry up and go to that floor, drink this drink that you have to take before you get an MRI. And so we waited. We sat in the lobby and waited for the tech to come out and get us. And when I was walking in, I remember asking, what am I getting an MRI for? And they said, Dr. Langenfeld just wants to make sure that everything is how it's supposed to be. I received my MRI, and as I was leaving, the technician said, today is Wednesday. We will probably get the results and contact you by Monday. I came home and went straight to bed. Thursday was kind of a blur. Was just sitting there thinking about my life and what was going to happen to my children if the results weren't good. I thought about all the things that I haven't done yet, all the things that people create a bucket list for. I hadn't even created one. I have 3 children of my own and 2 stepchildren. They were so young. My youngest was 9. I was not ready to hear any bad news. I prayed. I started praying, and I started praying, and I prayed every morning and every night. I prayed the rosary. I started reading books about spirituality and the angels, and I read about the archangels, and I read that God had given Archangel Raphael the ability to heal. So I started doing research on him, and I remember reading that the color emerald green was associated with him. So every morning before I would get out of bed, I would visualize the white light of the Holy Spirit coming in through my head and just healing all the sicknesses and all the negativity around me and entering at my feet. And I always visualized emerald green light around my stomach area where my ascending colon was. And I would just pray to God every day, please keep me here. On Friday, 2 days after my colonoscopy, Dr. Langenfeld called me himself. He told me that the reason he ordered an MRI is because when he did the colonoscopy on me, there was nothing there. That mass that was on my ascending colon was gone. He somehow thought, okay, we need to do an MRI to make sure that I didn't read the scans wrong or it wasn't somewhere else. So that's why I received my MRI. He said, Lynn, I went through your colonoscopy, I went through your MRI scans, and there was nothing there. I don't know where that mass went, but it was gone. I told him that I had asked a lot of people that I knew. I had gotten on Facebook and requested so many people to pray for me because I believe in God and I believe in the power of prayer. I asked for so many people to pray for me, and they did. I told him, I'm not surprised that this mass is gone because I felt it. I felt in my soul that I was healed. I felt like I was going to be okay and that God had a purpose for me. And it wasn't just to be a wife and a mother, like I had a purpose. He told me he wanted to call me himself because this had only happened a few times in his career of being a physician, and that there was a reason that I was spared. When I asked him, what do I say to people? How do I tell people that I had a mass and now it's gone? And he said, all people care about is that you're going to be okay. So just tell them that your test results came back negative. Because when things like this happen, what we say in the medical field was that the original scan must have been wrong. There must have been a glitch. So just tell them that everything was okay and that your test results came back negative. So that's what I did. I put an ad in the paper and I thanked everybody on Facebook for praying for me, and I basically told them that my test results were negative. And as soon as I did that, I just was overwhelmed with guilt because this was a miracle. This was amazing. God took this mass and took it away from me. My lungs were completely clear. I should have celebrated this. I should have told everybody, and I didn't. I told my mother and I told my husband. That's it. These last 5 years, it has weighed heavily on me that I needed to share my story because this was amazing. When my husband found out that my scans were clear, he was so relieved. He was so thankful, and he was just amazed because why me? What had happened was a complete miracle, and he was ecstatic. About a week after I got home and was told what my scan results were, I was contacted from Bright Horizons. They asked me to show up and be a speaker at one of their events. They asked me to share my story. And a part of me thought, okay, I'm ready. I am ready. I'm gonna share my story. I'm gonna talk about how I was a survivor. I was gonna talk about how I was raised, how I grew up around the abuse, and what I did to help myself heal. I showed up and I told my story, and the women there stood up and applauded. They were so thankful that I was there. They told me thank you over and over and over again, and I just had this rush of emotions. I felt so good about myself that I was actually helping these women. I could relate to the women who were physically and mentally and sexually abused. And once I gained their trust and they realized that they could confide in me and shared their stories with me, it was unbelievable. I loved that they could confide in me, and I loved that I could try and help them. So I came home and I started reading all kinds of books about being a public speaker. And I started reading and taking classes about spirituality and about angels and about learning more about God. And I wanted to help these women. I contacted Bright Horizons and told them I would love to come and teach classes. I would like to come and talk to these women more and more so that I could help them. I started doing seminars and I started hosting my own classes, and women were showing up, and I was sharing my story, and I was teaching them how to love themselves again. I was teaching them the steps that I had took to get over all the triggers that I had. I started teaching them ways that helped me heal. I started teaching them ways to help me breathe through the triggers that I had. And I started helping them empower themselves and feel good about themselves and have the self-esteem and the confidence. I tried to help them regain their self-esteem so that they could live a life that was away from their abuser, so that they knew that they deserved happiness. Once I became a certified motivational speaker, I started going to schools and giving speeches there. And I started to do my own classes every once in a while. And once it was all over and I would say, now that I'm healed, what am I supposed to be doing? Now that you healed me, use me to be a messenger. Because it really is an amazing feeling to have women come up and hug you, and they would say to me, Lynn, oh my God, you have no idea how bad things have been. And just hearing your story and seeing where you are now, there's hope. I found hope. And one woman told me, she said this was gonna be it for me. She said I was gonna go to this meeting, and she said I was gonna go home and I was gonna end it. And she said, now that I've heard what you've had to say and how you overcame things and overcame the abuse and how you feel like you're not a victim anymore, you're a survivor. She said, I love that. That clicked with me. I've been a victim all these years and I don't want to be a victim anymore. And she said, I'm going to be a survivor. And that was the biggest high for me, knowing that I helped her change her mind. And it was pretty remarkable. And I love doing it. There is no such thing as a coincidence. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and there are so many lessons that you're supposed to learn throughout your time on this earth. And that woman that came to listen to me speak, knowing that that was going to be the end of her life after that, and then she changed her mind, there's a reason she was at that meeting. There was a reason she was at that group. And I believe that if you feel like you're in a point in your life where you're stuck and there's nowhere to go, there's always somebody you can reach out to. And don't be afraid. Fear is such a horrible, horrible thing to have, because you think that you're bothering people with your problems. You feel like you're just going to be an inconvenience. And that is the furthest from the truth. Even if whether it's somebody from your church, somebody from your school, the school that your kids go to, somebody that from your workplace, even if you just walked up to somebody that you're friends with or that you don't even really talk to that much anymore. If somebody walked up to me and said, I don't feel right, I feel like I'm stuck, I feel like I have nowhere to go, can you help me, or do you know somebody that can help me? It's worth that. Even if you just say, I'm a hot mess right now and I need help. There is no shame in that. Yeah. I feel like as women, we need to empower each other and we need to help each other feel like I'm here for you. And if I can't physically help you myself, I will help guide you to somebody who can. Because I think people stay stuck in these situations because of financial reasons and because they feel like they literally have nowhere to go. That's what's so sad. Of all the women that I've helped and worked with through Bright Horizons, they've stayed because they don't have the money to pay for a place. They don't even have the money to pay for a hotel. And Bright Horizons can only help so long because they run out of the means, they run out of space, they run out of the proper place to put you or to help you. And so I just feel like if you want to be one of those people that's willing to help, start telling people. Start going to Bright Horizons, start finding out where the shelters are close to you, and just say, you know what, I'm willing to help. If somebody needs a place to go, they can come to my house for a couple days. I have a vehicle, I can help drive them. I have a few extra bucks, I can help feed them. That's the main thing that Bright Horizons needs the help with the most. I told my kids I was gonna shoot this video. They were like, Mom, what for? What's this about? And I said, do you remember that accident I was in 5 years ago? And they said, yes. And I said, something happened to me. And I wasn't ready to share my story then, and I'm ready to share it now. And my youngest son, Keaton, said to me, Mom, you gotta tell me, give me a hint. And I said, nope, you're gonna have to watch the video. I think once my kids see this, I hope that they are just filled with just a love for God, and just know that nothing is impossible with the power of prayer. They're so different. Each one of them is so different, and yet they have a lot of similarities, but their personalities are different, and they have their own interests, their own likes, and they're pretty amazing, special people. I tell them all the time, I am so blessed that God chose me to be your mother. I think one of the most important things a parent can teach their child is that there is a higher power. Some religions say God, some religions say source, some religions say higher power. Some people that are spiritual just say universe. Whatever it is, whatever you want to say it, there's something there that will help you, that will guide you. And you just need to believe in it. And you need to have enough faith and belief that you're worthy of it. And that whenever you have any issues, whenever you have any sadness, any problems, anything, wake up in the morning and just say, God be with me, universe be with me, source be with me today. Help me through this. I very much believe in guardian angels. I've had so many things happen in my life to where I know that the reason good things have happened is because of guardian angels, or just the way the universe is set up. You're supposed to be blessed throughout life. You're not supposed to suffer. You're not supposed to feel like in order to get something good, you have to go through a bad time. I believe that God loves each and every one of us. He created each and every one of us. And He doesn't mean for us to suffer throughout our entire life. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to be fulfilled. He wants us to help. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm teaching my children.